Good morning, Miss Marquez's friends. So, the book that I am going to read to you today is from our classroom library. I went to the school and I got a bunch of different books from our classroom library that I thought would be interesting and that you guys would love to hear me read. So, this one's called Goldilocks Returns. And we all know the story Goldilocks and the Three Bears, where Goldilocks goes to a house that's in the woods and she knocks on the door and nobody's there. So she just lets herself in and she goes and she tries some porridge and she tries Mama Bear's, Baby Bear's, and Dad's porridge, and she sits in the chairs and breaks the chairs, and she goes to the beds and tries all the beds, and then falls asleep in Baby Bear's bed, and all of the bears come home and they're like, "Who's in my bed?" So that's the story Goldilocks, the original. Well, this one is called Goldilocks Returns, and as you can tell, she's an older lady here because in the original story, Goldilocks and the Three Bears, she's a young little girl. So Goldilocks doesn't even try to go back to the bear's house, I guess, until she's an older woman. So I'm going to let you look at the cover. And I really like the back here too because the back of the cover kind of goes on with this one. And so there's somebody peeking in the window here. Okay, it looks like she's got a tool belt. So it's going to be a good book. The author and illustrator is Lisa Campbell Ernst. So she must have wrote the words and drew the pictures. So Goldilocks Returns. We got a picture right here. Same another one. Goldilocks Returns. And I'm going to read the words and then I'll show you the pictures, okay? Because it's kind of hard for me to read the words and show you guys the pictures. Let me see if I can turn it a little bit. There. As a child, she was known as Goldilocks, and she was very naughty indeed. Her favorite hobby was snooping in houses where no one was at home until, of course, all that dreadful trouble with the bears. These are really cool pictures, so I'm going to have to give you some time to look at the pictures. Then Goldilocks grew up, and the older she got, the worse she felt about her horrid behavior. She shortened her name and pinned up her curls so no one would recognize her. Goldie opened a shop to help people protect themselves against snoops, but no matter how she tried to leave her life of crime behind, it haunted her day and night. Goldie had nightmares about bears. She cried at the mere sight of a teddy bear. Her customers even began to look like bears. "I can't take it any longer," she sobbed at last. "It's time I set things right." Early one morning, Goldie loaded up her truck, turned her shop sign to closed, and zoomed off toward the deep, dark woods. So she owns this shop, and she was feeling so bad about the incident with the bears that she started to see people looking like bears, and the guilt of her going into their house when no one was home just took over her, and she said, "I have to stop this. I have to go and make things right." So it looks like she's on her way in her truck to maybe go and see the bears. Let's see. At that very moment, the three bears whom she had scared out of their wits years before were sitting down to breakfast. They were Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and their son, who, though not a baby for some 50 years now, still went by the name Baby Bear. Due to the fright brought on by Goldilocks, he still had a wee little voice. Their breakfast, as usual, was porridge, and as it had been every day since any of them could remember, it was much too hot to eat. "Grab your hats," Papa Bear sighed, and the three unsuspecting bears left for their daily walk. So they've got their porridge on the table, and it's too hot to eat right now. So Papa Bear says, "Let's go for a walk," just like in the original story when Goldilocks was little and she goes into their house when they're not home. So it looks like they're doing the same exact thing. So here they are, getting ready for their walk. Oh no. Oh no. No sooner had the bears left than Goldie screeched to a stop in front of their cozy cottage. "It hasn't changed a bit," she gasped. Strapping her tool belt on, Goldie walked to the door and knocked. A smile crept across her face as she realized the bears, again, were not at home. Goldie walked right in. "I'll fix that," she said, chuckling. With a drill in one hand and a screwdriver in the other, Goldie swung into action. Moments later, the bear's door was laden with the finest in locking hardware. Padlock, double bolt, and the secret anti-snoop lock she used in only the most serious cases. "Why, won't they be delighted?" she crooned. So instead of going in and trying all of the soups and stuff for now, she's fixing things. She thinks that maybe her way of saying sorry to the bears for what she did in the past would be to go in and fix some things. So she fixed the door. She put lots of locks on it. So we'll see. Next, Goldie headed for the kitchen. There sat the 3 bowls of porridge. "Ish," she said. "It's that same goop as before." Goldie emptied the bowls in the sink. "They won't have to eat this nasty-tasting stuff anymore." And she set out her special fat-free rutabaga breakfast bars and cans of tart and tasty celery juice. Goldie stocked the cabinets with enough breakfast bars and celery juice to last for months. While she was at it, she threw away any food she thought was unhealthy or didn't like herself. "Now, to spruce this place up a little," Goldie announced, pulling out 3 bolts of pom-pom fringe and her staple gun. The results were stunning. So she threw away all of their porridge, all of their food that they had in the house, and she replaced it with her favorite food and she decorated the house with her favorite decorations. And it's all really nice, but not everybody has the same taste. So just because she likes celery juice and she likes those healthy bars, well, they might not like them. And just because she likes pom-pom decorations, well, they might not like them. So she's doing things to be nice, but I don't know how the bears are going to react. Feeling better already, Goldie burst into the living room. She cried when she saw what Baby Bear had made from the pieces of his broken chair. Nothing a little hot glue can't fix. She whipped out her glue gun, and in no time the rocking horse was a chair again. "Good as new," Goldie said. "No better. Now to fix those other ghastly chairs." Even after all these years, Goldie still judged Mama Bear's chair too soft and Papa Bear's too hard. The stuffing was quickly removed from the chair to the other. Goldie hung hoity-toity drapes, scattered pillows, and covered all the furniture with shiny plastic covers. "Perfect at last," she declared. So she's changing a bunch of things. She's changing the chairs, but we know that Papa Bear likes a hard chair, and we know that Mama Bear likes a soft chair. So I don't know how they're going to react when they come home and see that everything's been changed in their house. Goldie raced up the stairs to the 3 bears' bedroom. "Good gosh," she said, testing the beds of Papa Bear and Mama Bear. "Just as I remembered. Too hard, too soft." And before you could say Rip Van Winkle, she had adjusted the stuffings to her finicky liking. Goldie sprayed ravishing roses perfume in the air and tied bouquets of plastic flowers around the room for a back-to-nature look. "It's glorious," Goldie sang, falling back on Baby Bear's bed to admire the room. "The bears will be so grateful." Suddenly, Goldie was exhausted, and once again, Baby Bear's bed was just right. Before she knew it, Goldie had drifted off to her most peaceful sleep in 50 years. So once again, she's doing everything that she likes, and she likes the way that it's decorated, and everything's really nice of her, but I don't know how the bears are going to react. The bears, meanwhile, were finally returning home from their walk. Seeing the truck, they began to worry. They hadn't had much luck with visitors in the past. "What on?" Papa Bear said, noticing the locks on the door. Then he heard Baby Bear squealing in the kitchen. "Oh no! Oh my gosh! Oh my heavens!" he cried in his wee little voice. "Look! Look!" With jaws dropping and eyes popping, the 2 older bears did just that. Papa Bear snarled at the sight of the table and bellowed in his big, deep voice, "Someone has taken my porridge." Mama Bear nodded. "Someone has taken my porridge," she said in her medium-sized voice. And Baby Bear, discovering the mess in the sink, cried in his wee little voice, "Someone has taken taken my porridge and they've thrown it all away. Memory told the bears to race to the living room. So they didn't even notice the bars and the celery juice that she left. They're just so mad that their porridge is gone. It was a shocking sight. Papa Bear's knees buckled and he fell into his now poofy chair. Someone, he growled, bristling, has been fooling with my chair. Mama Bear tried hers and gasped. Hard as a rock, someone has been fooling with my chair. Ah! Baby Bear screeched, stomping up and down. Someone has been fooling with my chair and they put it back together. All three bears ran helter-skelter up the stairs. Look at all these decorations around the house. It doesn't look like those bears would decorate their house like that. P.U., Baby Bear gagged. What's that smell? Ravishing roses, Mama Bear read, picking up the empty bottle from the floor. The two older bears did not even check their beds. They knew where to look. What they saw made their fur stand on end. Baby Bear began to tremble. She's back, he wailed, hoping it was all just a nightmare. Someone's been sleeping in my bed, and here she is again. And at that moment, Goldie's eyes popped open. And you can see her eyes, and they're all looking at each other like, "Ooh, she's back." You're home, Goldie shouted, crushing each bear with a hug and kissing their furry cheeks. The shocked bears opened their mouths to protest, but Goldie raced on. Now don't thank me, I know you're terribly grateful, but after all, I was the one who caused the trouble to begin with. Of course, I've more than made up for that. Goldie gleefully danced through the house, pointing out her deeds. Naturally, I fixed that silly little chair, she said, and got rid of that nasty porridge. The rutabaga breakfast bars are fat-free, so you might even be able to lose that extra weight there, she chuckled, tapping Papa Bear on the stomach. They are just shocked. They don't even know what to say to her right now. A growl began to grow in Papa Bear's throat, but before he could get out, Goldie tossed him the keys to her fancy locks, hugged them all again, climbed in her truck, and was off. Wait! Come back! Yelled the bears, but it did no good. As her truck rounded a curve in the road, the bears saw a flash of gold. Goldie, smiling, unpinned her curls and shook them out in the breeze. The dazed bears slowly turned back to their cottage. They moved awkwardly about their fancy schmancy house. They couldn't eat, couldn't get comfortable in their chairs, and so finally went to bed. But no one slept a wink, because their beds are all messed up now. They're not the way that they like them, so nobody's sleeping good. The next morning, the three exhausted bears sat at the kitchen table, miserably staring at their rutabaga breakfast bars and celery juice. Maybe we should go for a walk, Mama suggested, and they all ran for their hats. The three bears set off through the woods, relieved to be out of their house. But just then, Baby Bear spied something through the trees. It was a very mischievous-looking little girl skipping along the path that led straight to their cottage. Oh no, he panicked. Not this again. We didn't lock the door. Quick, stop her. She might eat our food. She might mess up the fancy things. She might break my chair. So now they don't even see Goldie. They see somebody else kind of creeping through the woods. And they're like, no, 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 not again. We're not going through this again. The bears began to run after the girl, but then they suddenly stopped. Eat the food? Asked Mom. Mess up the fancy things? Asked Papa. Break my chair? Repeated Baby Bear. Very slowly, they all smiled. So now they're like, maybe we want her to break our chair. Maybe we want her to eat all the fancy food, because they don't like anything that the real Goldilocks did. So now they're wanting this new little girl to mess up everything so that they can go back to normal. And then, turning around, the bears suddenly continued on their walk, and they're marching off real happy. They're like, go ahead, go in our house, mess everything up. And here is a little girl swinging on their chandelier and messing everything up. the end. So that is Goldilocks Returns, and I think that's a really, really cute book. So now that the book is over, I kind of want you to think about some things. I want you to think about how this book is similar and maybe different than the original Goldilocks and the Three Bears book. So I kind of want you to make a list of things. And if you recall, let me make this for you to show you really quick. I'm going to draw the Venn diagram that we did that one time. And if you have a piece of paper at home, you can do the same thing. So let me draw it really quick. Bear with me. So on this side, we'll put Goldilocks and the Three Bears, which would be the original story, not the one that I read today. And then on this side, it would be Goldilocks Returns. Okay. Okay, so this is the Venn diagram. Remember we did it for the statues and monument when we were doing social studies? And we were deciding how statues and monuments were were different, and then the same in the middle. So on this side, and I know my writing is backwards, but this side says Goldilocks and the Three Bears. So I want you to write all of the ways that Goldilocks is different, and the Goldilocks and the Three Bears story is different than Goldilocks Returns. So, for example, you could write that Goldilocks was a little girl on this side, and Goldilocks and the Three Bears. And then on Goldilocks Returns, she's an older lady. So you could write Goldilocks as an older lady. Okay, and then here in the similar part, some things that are similar, you could say that like they both had a girl come in and mess up things in the house. Because at the end of the story, and even during this whole story, it looks like to her that she's putting everything back together, but that's not how the bears want their things. So in both stories, somebody is messing things up in the bear's house, and those would be the same thing. So I kind of want you to make you don't have to do the Venn diagram, you don't have to do it like this at all. You can just write a list of how you think the two books are the same and what makes them different as well. And I want you to talk to your mom and your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, your aunt, your uncle, your cousins, whoever is watching this video with you that you can talk to about the video or the read aloud. Talk to them about it. What are some things that were the same? What were some things that were different? And if you need a refresh on Goldilocks and the Three Bears original story, go to YouTube and type in Goldilocks and the Three Bears and listen to the story. And that'll kind of help you refresh your brain about what that story was like. As always, I always want you guys to identify the main character, the setting, and the problem and the solution. And I think the problem and the solution, we know what the problem and solution are. So I want you guys to talk about that. So this was our first read aloud video. I will be making more as the weeks come. I hope you enjoyed it, and I miss you guys so much, and I will talk to you again soon. Love you all. Bye-bye.